Hello everyone, welcome back to our YouTube channel. We are PGN Accounting Group. Welcome to part 2 of our 3-part series on how to create a monthly budget for beginners, a free hands-on zero-based budget in Excel and or Google Sheets. So obviously you watched step 1, which is talking about the importance of budgeting. Now today we're going to be talking about part 2, which is step-by-step guide to create a monthly budget. Tomorrow, we're going to be talking about part 3, the final part, which is a walkthrough of creating and updating a budget. So before we get into today's video's content, please reach out to us at pgnaccounting.com. Even if you just want to explore our website, see our services, contact us for a free consultation. We'd be happy to set that up for you and answer any questions you have. Again, the initial consultation is free, so please head over to pgnaccounting.com, see what services we provide, and if we can provide any of our services to you, then please contact us and set up a consultation. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel. It really helps our morale, but it also shows us that you guys are enjoying our content, that we're able to reach more audience. And obviously, if you subscribe to us, then we're becoming more popular and we're able to reach a broader audience and really educate more and more people, which is our goal. Also, we have a Instagram page where you can see other content that we have that we might not post on YouTube or discuss on YouTube. So follow this QR code or just go to Instagram and search PGN Accounting and click follow. It really helps us know that you guys like our content, you guys are supporting us, and the more followers, the more subscribers we get, then the further our reach is to other audience members that might need to know about budgeting or taxes or other personal finance topics. So please support our YouTube channel and our Instagram page. So today we're going to be talking about step-by-step guide to create a monthly budget. Please, again, contact us at pgnaccounting.com if you'd like our free budget template. There's no obligation. There's no spam list that you're going to get on and you're just going to get a bunch of emails from us. It's just contacting us on our website, getting this free budget template. We just want to support you. We don't get anything out of it, but the pleasure and the peace of mind knowing that you are starting your budget and starting on that path to control your money. Step 1 on creating that budget. Obviously, you have to download or create a budget yourself, or download something that's already created, or go to those 3 softwares and create an account. But again, we don't recommend that. We recommend that you get a more manual budget, at least to start out with, just so you get into the nitty-gritty, the details of what is coming in and what is going out for your personal finances. Again, if you'd like to use our budget template because you don't have one or you don't have a good one or something that you're comfortable with, and obviously we're going through that template in this video series, so you might just want our own budget template so that you could follow along and watch our videos. If you have any questions while you're updating it, contact us at pgnaccounting.com to get that free budget template. Or you could create your own Excel or Google Sheet, and if you're really good in it, obviously we recommend that. Whatever helps you to do the budget and whatever you're most comfortable with, please do that. You can even download an app to help you budget. Again, they do have the convenience of pulling the transactions automatically from your bank account or your credit card. And yes, that's helpful. But again, sometimes that kind of gives you like a couple steps back where you're not really getting into the detail of the transactions of what you're doing. So that's not what we recommend, especially for beginners. Everyone has their own preference, but the important thing is that you start budgeting today. Step 2 in creating your monthly budget: income. So it's what's at the top of the budget is income. You have to list out all of your sources of income for that month. For example, it could be your W-2 job or your side jobs or any other income that you might get for that month. For your W-2 job, we recommend that you use net take-home pay, just because if you use gross pay, then you have to take out federal tax, Social Security, Medicare tax, state tax, insurance premiums, 401k contributions. Sometimes it's easier, instead of seeing gross of 4,000 and then you take out all of these expenses and then you get down to 3, it's just easier to use your net take-home pay of 3,000. That's what we recommend. You could obviously do what you want, but again, that's our recommendation. On top of that, there are side jobs that you might do. If you do Uber on the side or Lyft, or you have an Etsy shop where you make crafts and sell them, or you're just a handyman and you repair HVACs for people, or you just repair broken walls or fix something for somebody and you make a little bit of money on the side, whatever it is, again, you want to encompass all of your income for that month in your monthly budget. Also, for that month, we recommend that you include gifts that you received, whether if you had a birthday or you had some other event where people are giving you gifts, which would be great. Let's have events every single month where people give us gifts, but obviously it's not going to happen all the time. It's just an example. But when that happens, please include that in your budget, because again, we're a zero-based budget where we include all the money coming in and we include everything going out so that we get to zero. Include your tax refunds that you get once a year. Include anything that you're selling on Facebook Marketplace or Craigslist or eBay. Just include whatever money you're bringing in. Include that into your budget. And we have a little bit of an example here. This is a snapshot from our budget template. Shows monthly income really nicely over here. And then you can see main job, take home income projected is $3,500. Side jobs, $250, and then other $300, which is total projected income, budget income of $4,050. Obviously, actual is zero because you're going to update that throughout the month as you actually receive paychecks and money from your side jobs. If you're salary or hourly, check your last month's pay stubs and or bank statements. It's usually pretty easy to figure that out when you're on salary or hourly because it's pretty consistent. If you're self-employed or you're commission-based or something other that's inconsistent income where it fluctuates every single month and you can't really determine, like, I don't know, I made $3,000 one month, $6,000 the other month, $4,500 the other month. We recommend that you take the last 3 months of income and use the average of those months as your budgeted monthly income and adjust that as needed, because you're going to be updating your budget every single month. Budgeting $5,000 per month isn't realistic. It should go up or down. Please, you're going to have to adjust that on a month-to-month basis, more so than somebody that's salary or hourly. Here's a tip, is usually underestimate your income so that you could leave some room for error. Obviously, if you're salary and you know exactly what you're going to be bringing in net take home every single month because it's consistent, you don't really have to underestimate your income because you know. But if you're hourly and sometimes you get a lot of overtime, sometimes you don't, or you're self-employed or commission-based, and sometimes the months are great, sometimes they're not, go on the lower end. Even if the last 3 months averaged out to like $5,000 per month, maybe put $4,500 projected for that month, then it kind of leaves room for error. You know, obviously if you exceeded that, great. But if you underperformed or you received less because you didn't do so much overtime that month and it's really $4,200, but you budgeted $45,000, well, that's a lot better than budgeting $5,000 and it actually comes in $4,200. So just underestimate your income a little bit when it's not so clear what you're going to be making every single month. Step 3, debt. Make a list of all your debt and monthly minimum payments for that debt. An example of this is student loans, which obviously we just keep getting student loans pushed back farther and farther and farther. Who knows if we're ever going to pay them anymore. So, but still include those if you're paying them. Don't lose sight or track of them just because things keep getting pushed back and you haven't had to make a payment for almost 2 years now. Still include that, make it a list, and whatever your previous monthly payment minimum payment was, include that in your budget. Include any auto loans that you have, credit cards, and the minimum payments. If you pay it in full, you might not have to do that because you don't really have a credit card balance every single month. So you don't really have credit card debt. This is more so if you have a credit card balance every month and you're paying minimums on it, then list those. Include your mortgage, a personal loan you might have, a home equity line of credit on your house that you might have, or tax debt with the IRS or state government. So make a list of all your debt and monthly minimum payments. So here's an example, a visual of a list of debt and their minimum payments. So you have student loan, let's say it's $200, credit card number 1 and 2, about $50, $25 are the minimum payments every month. Auto loan, you have $250, mortgage of $1,750, and personal loan of $300 per month. So just make a list and of the debts and the monthly minimum payments. Step 4, fixed expenses. Make a list of your fixed expenses. Some examples are your rent or your mortgage, utilities, food. In this, we're only going to include groceries because you're going to have to spend that money either way. Everyone needs groceries. Insurance, sometimes this might be once every 6 months if you prepay it, other than making the monthly payments. So obviously you're going to have to really understand your finances and the details of it, because when you have that insurance payment coming up in 3 months or 4 months, and it's a big lump sum payment of $500, $600, because you're paying for 6 months worth of insurance at once, you're going to really have to make a list and keep track of that. Another example is gas or your cell phone bill, and also real estate taxes. Again, this might be once every 6 months, depending on where you live or how they do real estate taxes there, or if you have real estate taxes included in your escrow with your mortgage. Just make a list of all of your fixed expenses that you pay yourself. Again, similar to income, look at your prior 3 months to determine the budgeted amount for each expense if it's not the same amount per month. Rent and mortgage, it's usually the same amount every single month, so that's pretty easy. You don't really need to look at the prior 3 months. Utilities, you might need to look back at the prior 3 months because it fluctuates depending on how much you use, depending on the season. Also, same thing with groceries. Maybe some months you eat more, some months you eat less. So take an average of that, and that's what you could use, especially when you're a beginner in creating your budget. You don't really know how much money you're spending in certain categories. So it's good to look back at your bank statements or your credit card statements just so you can kind of get an idea like, all right, I kind of spend about $500 on food, $300 in utilities, $250 in gas. Okay, maybe that's what I could use for this first month's budget. And then as you really keep track of your expenses and you do the second and third and fourth month's budget, you're really going to be able to hone in on exactly how much money you spend, so that projected amount is going to be more accurate. Again, do not get too stressed out about not getting the exact projected amount. Again, that's what they are. It's projected. You're new at this. This is your first monthly budget that you created. It's not going to be perfect. Okay. So we're not trying to hit on perfect. We're going to, on our first month's of budget, we're just trying to get started on controlling our money, keeping track of where it is, and really just start this great habit of keeping track of your money and creating a budget. A couple tips are: make sure to account for one-time expenses as needed. Some months you might have a large expense like birthday or a wedding that's coming up. So you want to have some foresight to include that into your budget so you're not blindsided by a huge large expense and it kind of throws a wrench in your whole budget for that month. Another tip is overestimate your expenses to leave room for error, unless obviously the amount is the same per month. So if your cell phone bill and your rent and your insurance is the same every single month, you don't really have to overestimate because you know how much you're spending. But if your utilities is usually $250 and then it's $300 and it's $150 for some reason, it goes down so much. So the average is about let's say $225, $250. Maybe budget $3 just in case you have one of those higher usage of utilities month. So you're kind of covered for that. Now, if you spent less and it's really 100 or 150, you just really crack down on turning off the lights and not using so much water, and it really went down. Awesome. Now you have more wiggle room in your budget. But again, you don't know that at the beginning. It might take a month or two to really hone in on how much you should be projecting. So maybe leave a little bit of wiggle room in there. Step 5, variable expenses. Make a list of your variable expenses. Some examples are food. Now here we're going to be including dining out. So this includes getting drinks with coworkers or going out for the weekend or eating out at a restaurant, eating out for work. So this does not include groceries like milk, eggs, all that stuff. This is actually going out for drinks or getting food. What's also included in here is clothing, shopping, car maintenance, subscriptions, like all of these subscriptions that are over here. Now there's like 100 subscriptions that you could possibly pay for, which then adds up to more than cable, but whatever. But make a list of all your subscriptions. And this is where making a budget really helps because it gets you in the details of like, wait, I've been paying for Disney Plus and I haven't watched it for 6 months. Maybe I could cancel that. And now you just saved a little bit of money per month. Also, another example is travel, going out to movies, which if you have this many subscriptions, you're probably not going to movies. But if you do, add that in there for variable expenses. Another variable expense is haircut, spa, and self-care, like massages or physical therapy or a chiropractor. Include that in variable expenses. And also I'd like to include in here is church and charitable giving. It's very important. So I do recommend that you include that in there in your budget per month of giving back to either your church or community or a nonprofit organization that you really believe in. It benefits you, for giving and having that heart of giving, but it also obviously benefits the church and the community or the nonprofit organization that you're giving money to. So if you don't already do that, include that in your variable expenses. Now, obviously this is variable, so it's usually fluctuates month to month, except maybe the subscriptions, but definitely look back at the prior 3 months to determine how much you should budget for each expense. Again, same tips. Make sure to account for one-time expenses as needed. Maybe you have like a huge birthday dinner and you're going to pay for all 10 of your friends at Fogo de Chao. So that month you're obviously going to have to budget a lot more money under the food category than normal. So definitely, again, keep track of that. Maybe you have really big car maintenance bill next month because you have to change 4 tires or you have to change the brakes. Obviously, that's a bigger one-time cost. So looking back at the prior 3 months, you're not really going to get a good idea of like, okay, maybe my last 3 months of car maintenance, I only spent $150, but now I'm going to have to spend $600 on tires or brakes. So keep track of that and make sure you account for that as needed. And again, overestimate expenses just to leave a little bit of wiggle room for error. Obviously, if you spend less money than you estimated, perfect. But if you spend more, you already kind of overestimated, so you were kind of prepared for that in case something doesn't go as planned. In step 6, I like to include expenses for the future. In our other video, we talked about how putting savings is technically not really an expense, but because we're a zero-based budget, we include that as an expense. And again, I kind of talked about zero-based budget in my previous video that we talked about yesterday. So please head over to that video and get a refresher. If you don't remember, or if you haven't watched it yet, please watch that first, that part 1, because it's really kind of lays a foundation for this video, part 2, and tomorrow's video, part 3. So please check out that. But make a list of your expenses for the future. Some of these examples could be savings, and then your savings could be saving for a new car, an upgrade, or your first car. Savings for funding that emergency fund if it's been depleted, or you're just starting out to create an emergency fund. Or if you haven't purchased a home yet, maybe you want to have some savings set aside for house purchase, or you want to take a family vacation or a personal vacation, then you set aside some money, some of your savings for that as well. You could definitely manipulate it and do it however you want, and that's the beauty of a personal budget, and that's exactly what it is. It's personal. You manipulate it to your needs, to what you want to achieve. And some of these soft budget softwares, they're not so manipulative. You can't, they're more rigid, or they're kind of expensive. So doing your own budget, you could do whatever you want in Excel. You could either use ours and completely manipulate it how you want, or create your own if you're really tech savvy and really good with Excel. Again, we recommend you do whatever works best for you. Make a list of other future expenses like debt, monthly minimum payments. This is where we talked about listing your debts before. This is kind of where it's going to go. Under this category is list your debt and your monthly minimum payments. Or if you also want to include extra payments to pay the debt faster, instead of paying your credit card monthly minimum payment of $50 and then you're going to pay it off in 10 years, how about you pay $250? Because now you're budgeting, you have a stronger control over your money, and now you have way more wiggle room because you could reduce this category. You now have more room in your budget, and you add all of that extra room towards your debt. You get out of debt faster. Boom, you're on your way to building wealth. Another example of a future expense is retirement contributions. Now, do not include amounts taken out of your pay stubs, because again, if you get a W-2, we're using net take-home pay. So if we use net take-home pay, it's already taking into account all the taxes that they take out, the health insurance premiums they take out, your health savings account contributions that they take out, and your retirement contributions. So when we talk about retirement contributions, we're talking about retirement contributions that you make outside of your pay stub, outside of your W-2 job. Now, these could be Roth IRA contributions, HSA contributions that are outside of your employer. Maybe they don't have an HSA, or you, for some reason, just want to create your own on the side, or you're self-employed and you create your own on the side. Or a SEP IRA, and that's, again, an IRA for our self-employed folks, and you're able to contribute way substantially more to your SEP IRA than you are to your Roth and your regular IRA. Again, topics for other videos. We also talked about some of these topics in our earlier videos, especially the one where it's top 5 write-offs for W-2 employees. So please check out that video as well. It's in our channel. So just head over to our channel, click on that video, and then you could really, we dive a little bit deeper into some of these retirement contribution topics. Again, this is a little snapshot from our budget template where it talks loans and savings. And again, it's completely personal. You could call this debt and savings. You could call it whatever you want. Money, go bye-bye. If it's only debts, you could call it whatever you want. Get fun with it. Get creative. Like budgeting doesn't have to be boring and pulling teeth and nail. This should be fun. This should be personal. So again, get personal with it. You're obviously you might not have a personal loan, so this might be blank, or this might be auto loan or whatever. But for this example, we have credit card loans and interest. 150 is projected. because it might be the minimum payments. You have a personal loan, this person doesn't, so it's zero. Or they might not be paying for it right now because they're pretty strapped for cash. Again, student loan. We have personal loan over here listed at zero, so they probably don't have a personal loan or they paid it off. Again, this person has student loan. They're not really paying, but let's just say that this person still wants to pay for it, so they've been paying the minimum payment of $150. They're making Roth IRA contributions of $500 per month and savings contributions of $500 per month. So this person has a total of $1,300 allocated to loans and savings. Step 7. Now you have your budget. You have the income, the expenses, the debt, fixed expenses, variable expenses. You have everything included in there. Now you actually have to update it throughout the month. You can't just set it and forget it like those infomercials. This, you actually have to be hands-on, just like our title says, just like we keep saying throughout these we're going to be saying throughout this 3-part series. It's very hands-on. You have to update it. You have to take control of your money and update your budget timely. Obviously, you don't have to spend that much time. You don't have to be in this hours upon hours a day or weeks, but you do have to update it yourself. You do have to get in there. So step 7 is updating your budget. Keep track and make a list of your actual income and your actual expenses and update your budget. In our budget template, there's a column for income transactions. And again, this is a snapshot from our budget template that we provide for free. If you contact us via our website, pgnaccounting.com, we're happy to send that over to you so that you can start using it and budgeting today. There's a column for income transactions where you're going to put, I received the pay stub from PGN Accounting on November 15. Obviously, category is income, and you received $2,500. But I also did a side job for Uber, income, and I made $450. Then I got gifts for my husband's birthday. So again, we include all of our income. If you don't want to, you don't have to. This isn't, communist law that you must do it this way. Again, it's a personal budget. If you don't want to include gifts from birthdays into your budget, nobody's going to call the police on you. You could do whatever you want. But this is our recommendation, is that you include everything coming in and everything coming out. For this example, we did include it. So gifts for husband's birthday is $275. Some people were very generous. And then you received another pay stub from PGN Accounting, very generous, of $2,500. Again, those are take home. So this person's gross might be $3,500 or $4,000, depending on how much is taking out of their pay stub. So let's say this person gets paid $5,000 per pay stub. It looks like this person gets paid twice a month. So $5,000 gross, less taxes for federal, state, Medicare, Social Security, less HSA contributions, less health insurance premiums, less retirement contributions. Now that $5,000 gross gets whittled down to $2,500 per pay stub. So that's what we're including in here. $2,500 for November 15 and $2,500 for November 30th. Also, you may have to keep track and make a list of all of your actual expenses, and this is where you're going to be listing them. So church, charity, gift, $150. Spotify is category entertainment, $12.99. Rent is housing, $11.50. Yada, yada, yada. Just list all of your expenses in there, the category, and the dollar amount. This might seem overwhelming, but it doesn't have to be. When you really get your hands on this and you get used to it, it should really only take you about 10 to 15 minutes to update each time. And if you do it again, we're going to be telling you when you should be updating this, but per month, it should take you only about 30 to 45 minutes to update this budget per month. it shouldn't really take that much time and be so consuming and stressful. Especially when you're in month 2, 3, and beyond, you're going to get so good at this where you might be able to update your budget in 5 minutes. Boom, boom, boom. Update expenses, update income. There you go. I'm done. 5 minutes. Move on with my life. It could just be that easy. And we really hope you could get to that point. So create a budget, obviously, before the month begins or on the first day of that month. Because if you're on day 5 or 10 of November and you were creating November's budget, well, obviously it's better late than never, but you're already a third way through the whole month and now you're starting to create a budget for the month. It's not the worst thing in the world, but we really recommend that you start it before the month begins or on the first day of the month, because again, it's supposed to be a budget for your month. And if you already are third way through the month, you're not really sticking to a budget. You're just kind of doing the same old thing that you were doing. A budget should be followed. It should kind of be a guide on, hey, I set aside $500 for eating out this month. That's how much I have for the whole month. So then you kind of keep that in the back of your mind. Okay, maybe I shouldn't eat out so much. Maybe I shouldn't go splurge on a fancy dinner so that I'm not reaching over the $500 threshold too early in the month, because that's all I have for the whole month. So that's where I really recommend doing it at the beginning of the month. We also recommend to update your budget as often as you get paid, whether it's weekly, bi-weekly, semi-monthly, but at a minimum, you have to update your budget twice per month, because you want to get updates on your spending, see where you're doing, kind of get a little status update. And if you're updating it every single time you get paid, then it really kind of gets you into a rhythm. Like, okay, I get paid every week. I'm going to go and update my budget for 10, 15 minutes every single week right when I get paid. So then you could kind of see, all right, did I spend too much money this week, or did I spend too little, or am I on track, or what's going on? But if you get paid semi-monthly and you're getting paid twice a month, then you're updating it on the 15th and the 30th or the 31st. Then you kind of get a status report halfway through the month and you can be like, oh my gosh, I spent way too much money on food. I only spent $500 and I'm already at $400. Well, I guess I'm not eating out for the rest of the month, or eating very little out, or maybe eating at cheaper places. Kind of gives you a good status update in the middle of the month to be like, this is how the first half of the month went. How do I improve on the second half? Or I could just keep going the same way I have been going because I've been doing pretty good. So I don't really have to worry about it. But if you only update it once a month, you're not gonna know where you are. You can't make a shift or adjustment throughout the month because you have no idea what you're doing. It's kind of the same thing as making a budget like earlier, where it's not helping you. It's just kind of telling you, oh my God, I spent way too much money. Whereas if you update it pretty often, you could kind of get those wake up calls a little bit earlier, so you could still adjust for the month. So our recommendation is for the timeline for budgeting is create your budget on the 1st of the month, then update at a minimum on the 15th of the month, update again your budget on the last day of the month. But if you can and you're able to, update it a little bit more often, especially as a beginner. You might want to get into this on a weekly basis or a bi-weekly basis. These frequent updates help you see how you're doing throughout the month, and then you adjust your spending as needed. So, final thoughts. You went through the 7 steps of creating a budget. Awesome. This is great. You made it through the video. And now you know how to create a budget. You know how to list your income, your expenses, your debt, have everything allocated, zero-based budget. This is awesome. Now, before we kind of set you out into the wild and you start creating your budget every single month, and now take off the training wheels, I have a few final thoughts for you. Remember, All income and all expenses should be accounted for and assigned to a category. That is what a zero-based budget is. It's all income minus all expenses equals zero every single month. So make sure that every dollar is accounted for. And again, if you have, I forget things all the time, like in school, you know, a professor says something, you think you're like, oh, I'll just remember that. You don't write it down. You forget it 30 minutes after class, or you're at work and your boss says something and then you're like, well, I don't need to write it down. I'm going to remember it. And then you forget it right away. Good thing is with these videos, they're recorded. So you can watch it as many times as you want. If you forget something, please come back to this video and rewatch it. Watch it as many times as you need to. We even created part 1 where it really establishes the foundations of why a budget is important. Please watch that if you haven't. And if you have and you forgot about it, go back and rewatch it. This is to educate yourself. Don't feel insecure about it. Don't feel you're a failure for you not doing it. Again, when was the best time to do a budget? Yesterday. When's the second best time? Today. It's never too late to get started. Please start budgeting today. It's very important. And I encourage you to do it. That's the beauty of YouTube. You can watch this in the comfort of your home in your own privacy. Nobody needs to know that you haven't created a budget yet. That's why I love the YouTube platform, because I'm able to reach people that are very insecure about this, or they don't feel comfortable letting people know, like, oh my God, like, I don't want people to know I haven't budgeted yet. Like, I'm an adult in my 30s and 40s and 50s and I haven't budgeted. Who cares what people think? They don't even need to know. Just watch this video and start budgeting, and now you're awesome. Now you control your money. That's the beauty of it. Again, if your expenses are more than your income, then you need to either increase your income, which is easier said than done, but you can also decrease your expenses if you're spending more than you make. And that's, again, the benefit of creating a budget is you can actually check where you're spending your money and adjust accordingly. If your income is more than your expenses, then allocate the extra towards debt or savings. And again, you don't know that until you start budgeting. How much money am I left over every single month if you don't budget? You don't know. Or you have a different method that works for you. Awesome. If you're achieving financial success doing whatever method you are doing, awesome. But again, 99% of people, you cannot win financially without budgeting. Remember, this won't be perfect on your first try. It will take a couple months to get used to budgeting and get in the habit of regularly updating and sticking to your budget. You're new at this. This is like a child learning how to ride a bike. You put some training wheels on and you have your dad or your mom run beside you and kind of guide you. That's what these videos are for. It's kind of like the training wheels or the guidance. Like, watch these as many times as you want. That's why we create a step-by-step guide and a walkthrough in tomorrow's video. Watch it as many times as you need to. Come back every single month when you're creating your budget and get a refresher, get a reminder. Oh yeah, it's a zero-based. I have to allocate all of my income and expenses to something. And whatever is left over, maybe I can add that to my savings or my debt. And just have fun with it. Like, this doesn't have to be crazy. This doesn't have to be stressful. Nobody's grading you on how great your budget is. I guarantee you the first one's going to be pretty rough. And it might be way off than what you thought. But guess what? You get an A+ for trying and starting your budget. And that is what we want, is starting. And remember, have fun while budgeting. Or at least focus on all of the benefits of budgeting. If you're a person that is I just need to do everything logical and achieve a goal, then just focus on the benefits of budgeting. But if you're a person that's more fun going and lively and carefree, just have fun with it, like, that's why we add these funny pictures in here, you got this and thumbs up, whatever. Just have fun with it. Like, personal finance doesn't have to be boring, but guess what? It's crucial to your life because everyone needs money. Unfortunately, life is revolved around money. We all need to earn it and we all spend it. So why not be good at it? And you can't get good at it without a budget. So this video was a little bit longer, but it's definitely a deeper dive into step-by-step guide on creating a budget, which is so crucial. It's so important. And again, I don't want to go, I am not going to go through all the benefits and the importance of a budget, because I did that in part 1. In this part 2, in this video, the step-by-step guide to creating a budget. But stay tuned to our video and our last part of the series, part 3, which is a walkthrough of creating and updating a budget. If you're a visual learner like me, you're really going to want to watch that video, especially before you create your first budget, and especially if you're using our budget template, because we're going to be going through that budget template and creating a budget, inserting the income into a spreadsheet and the expenses, and then updating it on the 15th of the month and the last day of the month. How do I keep track of all my expenses? How do I assign it to a category? We're going to be going through all of that in part 3. It's probably going to be a lengthier video, but it's going to be very informational, very educational, and very helpful for you, because I'm not kidding. I get asked a lot of, how do I budget? Hey, do you have a template? Hey, how do you do this? And a lot of people, if they're asking me these questions, imagine how many other people aren't asking because they're too ashamed to admit, hey, I need help budgeting, or I haven't even started a budget. I'm in my 20s, I'm in my 30s, 40s, 50s. I've never created a budget, and I just kind of get by using my method of, hey, there's still money left in the bank every month. People are kind of a little ashamed to ask these questions, and that's where I really want you guys to share this video on YouTube and on Instagram. Let your friends and your family know, hey, there's this video out there. If you need help budgeting or creating a budget, look at this resource. They really dive deep into how to create it, what's the importance, and a walkthrough of creating it, a budget. That's our goal here at PGN Accounting Group, especially with our YouTube channel and our Instagram page. We just want to be a resource for people. We want to educate people, help people. That's what we're in the service. We're in a service-based business. We're here to serve you. Yes, obviously we need to make a living. We would love for you to be a client and provide you our services. But with our YouTube channel and our Instagram page, we just want to help people. So you could support us by subscribing on our YouTube channel and following us on our Instagram page. That really shows us the support that you have for us in helping these people, helping all of our audience members of how to budget, how to save on taxes, and different tax topics and different write-offs for W-2 employees and business owners, and just to be a resource for people where we dive deep into certain topics, more so than other YouTube channels out there that I've seen. A lot of them are very surface level and don't really dive deep into it, whereas us, we really want to dive deep and really provide as much information as we can. Obviously, where we can't provide everything, otherwise we're going to be talking for hours and hours. So if you want to reach out to us with your personal questions, you can reach out to us at pgnaccounting.com. You can see our different services that provide, who we are, and also set up a free consultation with us, or even just submit your question via our website just to get it answered via email, where we'd be happy to do that as well. Again, please support our YouTube channel and our Instagram page. We would love for you to support us, and the more support we get, the more we grow in subscribers and followers, the more new viewers that we're able to reach out and also provide our knowledge. And the more subscribers and the more followers we get and we grow, then the broader our reach could be. So please, again, support us in what we do so that we could continue making our videos and our educational resources for others. Thank you for staying tuned. all the way till the end of this part 2 of our how to create a monthly budget for beginners. Yesterday we posted part 1 where we talked about the importance of budgeting. So if you missed that out or you want to get a refresher, please go to our YouTube channel or click the link and that'll head you over to part 1. Stay tuned to our YouTube channel for tomorrow, where we're going to be posting part 3, which is the walkthrough, and that's the final part of our 3-part series on this how to create a monthly budget for beginners. We hope that you really took a lot out of this video, and again, we thank you for watching our YouTube videos and supporting us, and we will look forward to seeing you tomorrow on part 3. Take care.